Hello guys, welcome back to Beyond the Realms. I'm stopping in here today to do a review. It's been quite a while since I've done a review on my own. Just pressed for time a lot here lately, and actually I just haven't had a chance to watch a whole lot of new stuff, but I just recently watched VHS, which has been getting quite a bit of buzz here lately. I've heard a lot about it for a while. I've been anxious to check it out because, as many of you I'm sure know, I'm a huge fan of Ty West, who did House of the Devil, Innkeepers, and then many other films. But he did one of a part of VHS. And for those of you that don't know about this movie, entitled VHS, it's not a VHS tape, it's entitled VHS. It's an independent film that it recently just got put on demand, like last week. I know some cable services are carrying it. I actually watched it through Vudu. It is on there, standard definition rental for $9.99 or high def for $11. So I decided to watch it. It's an anthology. Really cool, and it all centers around VHS tapes. It has a wraparound story, much how like Chillerama had, where basically it's showing these criminals, these guys that just they just cause havoc. Like they're following this guy and girl around, and they assault them and get the girl's naked boobs on video and stuff, then run off. Then it shows them like breaking windows in this place and filming it and all this stuff. But they're basically hired to go to this house to get this VHS tape. It's pretty vague in the description of what exactly they're doing. You don't really know who hires them or anything like that, and they don't even really know what tape they're looking for. They just know that they're looking for a VHS tape, and you hear them say in one part, the guy said, you'll know what it is when you find it. So they're there, there's this... It's a weird house. They break into it. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail and spoil a bunch of stuff, but basically what happens is they get into a room, and or they're looking around, and they get into this room, and there's a TV, VCR, and all this stuff, and tapes. Well, as the other guys go and start checking out the rest of the house, one of the guys stays there and begins to put in the videotapes there in the room into the VCR to see if they can find this tape or even figure out what it is that they're looking for. And each tape that he puts in is a different story that you're shown. Now the first one that he puts in, this story is entitled Amateur Night. And it's about this group of guys who are going to go out to these clubs, and they're just going out to party. And I can't remember if they say exactly how, but one of the guys has a camera like mounted into his glasses, so they're recording what goes on that night as they're out of these bars. And they pick up these couple girls, are messing around with them. They take them back to the hotel. Everybody's drunk. These guys are just looking to get laid, and things get really out of control. One of the girls that they pick up is definitely not what she seems. I mean, she's very bizarre from the get-go. She's just very odd, weird behavior. But it goes much further than these guys could ever anticipate it going. I'll leave it at that. Not going to spoil anything with that. So then it goes back and it's showing more of this wraparound story, which the wraparound story, I guess, let me see here, it's entitled Tape 56. So it goes back to the wraparound story, and they're still looking around and all this stuff. And then we go on to the second tape, and this one is entitled Second Honeymoon. And this one is actually by Ty West. Now, the guys who did the other films, I didn't really look into it a whole lot. I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that Ty West directed this second story in this anthology. And it's this couple that's they go on their second honeymoon. They're going on a vacation, and they're there, and all of a sudden they're in their hotel, and this woman knocks on the door. It's a very strange woman asking for a ride. They say, no, I'm not going to give you a ride and all this stuff. And they show them that, the whole time they're, of course, videotaping their own honeymoon. Well, after that happens and the guy explains to the camera what happened, it shows them, film showing outside, and this girl's walking back and forth in the parking lot, staring up at the room. Just very bizarre, very weird. They decide not to call the cops, just see how it goes, see if she's gone by morning, all this stuff, and she ends up just being how can I say this without spoiling it? Obsessive with them for a very particular reason. Very awesome. There's a lot of really cool tension in this story. I like the twist to it. It's a really good story. I really like the build up to it. Awesome second story. From there, we have a story entitled Tuesday the 17th, which to me, that's a take on Friday the 13th. You know, if you figure up the days, it would be Tuesday the 17th. And it's this girl who takes her friends into the woods. She's acting pretty weird. She makes this comment, "You're all going to die up here." It's very bizarre. And all along, the guy filming with this video camera keeps seeing these little glitches in the camera of like dead people laying around. He's like, "What the hell's wrong with this camera?" The girl tells this story of this killer who used to be up there that killed her friend when they were little and all this stuff. And then she just laughs it off like it's a big joke and all this stuff. But basically, there is a killer on the loose in this, and it's a pretty unique take on a serial killer because he's part supernatural, part real, and it's pretty cool. I thought that it was a little lacking. I didn't totally get what was going on with the killer at first. Like, I actually had to read up on it because it kind of confusing with the way it was laid out in this story. Still pretty good. And then after that, you have the sick thing that happened to Emily when she was younger. And this is basically showing a couple talking through like this Skype type service, the boyfriend, boyfriend and girlfriend talking, and she's talking about how her new apartment's haunted. She's has some very bizarre and weird things happening to her. She sees little kids, like they're talking, and this little kid runs in and out of the room real quick. Pretty creepy stuff. Some very creepy atmosphere in this story. This is another one that has a bizarre twist. I didn't really see the twist coming, but there is a twist in this that I don't know. To me, this was probably the most underwhelming out of the 6. I guess you count the wraparound story. There were 6 stories in this altogether. But this was probably the most underwhelming out of all of them. It just felt like the writing to this story was pretty underdeveloped. Now, you know, I'm not one that needs everything explained to me, of course, but it was just really underdeveloped on this and a little too ambiguous to really fully appreciate. Now, there was some creepy moments to it, but overall it just could have been a little bit better. And then we have the last story, which is entitled 10/31/98, which, of course, this takes place on Halloween in 1998. And there's this group of guys that are getting dressed up. They're going to this Halloween party. They're really excited. They're looking to have a good time. You can tell, they're just having fun. They get there to this house, and it's weird. There's nobody there at all, but it's a very creepy house. Very cool looking, but very creepy at the same time. So they're not sure exactly what's going on. They're not sure if this is supposed to be like a haunted house thing, or they're not sure if the ghosts are just messing around with them. So they begin to search the house and find that it's a very haunted place. There's all kinds of weird stuff going on. I'm not going to spoil anything else there, but there's just this house is definitely not what it seems, and they find themselves in a lot of trouble very quickly. To me, this was the funnest entry out of all of them. This was really awesome. There's some creepy elements into this. There's some really over-the-top stuff that really works. It's really awesome, kind of reminiscent of like some 80s type films or like 80s type feel to it, where you really have to have a suspension of disbelief, and I love that, I miss that in horror films nowadays. I don't think you have enough of that anymore, really. Everything just tries to be so serious, and this was just real fun. It's trying its best to be really creepy, and it does have some very creepy elements. But it's still just very fun entry into it, and it just has an amazing ending to it. And I thought that, the ending, when the ending happens and it wraps up the whole film, I was just very impressed with this, guys. This is a very awesome movie, VHS as a whole. Very, very fun, entertaining. You can tell all these guys, they just, they love the genre. You can tell it. I mean, you can just feel it in this film. There's a lot of passion, a lot of love, and just, it's just something that's very enjoyable. It's definitely one of the best horror films this year. It's a very good anthology. Now, would I put it up there with Trick or Treat? No, I would not. It's a flawed film. It's not, to me, Trick or Treat, Creep Show, stuff like that, those are perfect anthologies. Those are ones that are just, I can't even really pick anything in those films at all that's wrong. This one, there's quite a bit of things that are wrong, but regardless, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's awesome. And I highly recommend checking this film out, but support it. Jump online or not online, but jump on your TV, jump on your cable, whatever, and support this. Pay for it, guys. There was a lot of links that I saw pop up, and people's like, hey man, here's a link. You can watch this for free, and I purposely didn't do that. Because if we don't support things like this financially, by paying for it, they can't make films like this. I mean, it's pretty simple. I've had people ask me, why do you own so many movies? Well, I'm a collector, and also I like to support the film industry and things that I, believe in, and especially the independent scene, because if you don't financially support them, if you don't make money, you can't make a movie. I mean, it's pretty simple logic, and that's why something like this, VHS, comes along. It really takes the fans' support to be able to continue to do things like this. Don't rip it off, man. Don't download torrents of it. Support this thing. I mean, come on, you can pay $10 and have a whole house full of people to watch it. I mean, you go to the movies and one ticket's $10. You can have a whole bunch of people over and watch this movie for $10. It's well worth $10. I've seen so many films in a theater I paid $10 for and been like, man, that was not worth $10. But VHS is. It is well worth $10. And another thing that's really cool, like through Vudu, I rented it. It's a 2-day rental. We have it for 48 hours. You can watch it as many times as you want. So in 48 hours, you can watch that damn thing 24 times if you want, because it's a 2-hour film. It's well worth your money. I mean, you think of a rental, $10 is a lot, but when you put it in that type of perspective, it's not a lot at all. And, by us supporting this, hopefully more films like this that we enjoy and love can be made. Now, I do know this is going to get a limited theatrical release sometime in October. I'm hoping it comes around here. I'd love to check this out in a theater. I'll try my best to go and support it again. Money's kind of tight for me right now, but I would love to be able to go and check it out again. But yeah, guys, I highly recommend VHS. Overall, I'm not going to rate each one individually. I'm just going to do this as a whole. So as a whole, I give VHS 9 out of 10. It's definitely in the tops of what I've seen this year. I love it. It's an amazing film. I highly recommend checking it out. So yeah, guys, that is VHS, and I appreciate you all watching. I'm Jason. You all have a good one. Later.